and I became Muslim in my 20s, and shortly after I became Muslim, I moved to Turkey. And I will never forget one of the first times I came to Turkey. It was actually post-Iraq war and everything that was going on there. And I remember watching the media here in Istanbul and being utterly shocked and feeling this spark of rage inside me about how different the presentation of the media was from what I was used to having grown up in the West. It was like I was literally walking into a different world, a different discourse, watching something from two totally different perspectives. And I remember that being my very first wake-up call to really what is injustice and bias that we see in the media, and we've seen constantly over and over since then. And I remember going back to Canada as a new revert, and I remember being on my university campus, and I remember specifically it was a time when there was actually an alleged terror plot that was happening in Canada, and a reporter being on our university campus and approaching me and being shocked because they had seen me in the local masjid and saying, "Are you Muslim?" And then I replied, "Yes, I'm Muslim." And then they said, "Well, why?" And the shock that with all of the information as an educated white person, why on earth would I possibly choose this? And the obvious bias that was towards that. And I think that subsequently every war, I hesitate even to use the word conflict, but this genocide especially, we just see this same single framing of Western media. And so eventually over time, as a Muslim, but as a human, and then as a parent as well, began to consider what's my responsibility in terms of making sure that I'm doing my part to educate other people, educate my children. And I turned to social media. And so initially it was with the focus of trying to instill Islamic values, also to educate people what is Islam. And then as my platform grew, I also felt this sense of responsibility, not only as a Muslim, but as a human, to make sure that I'm using the platform that I have to talk about Palestine. And last year, my husband and I, we had the opportunity to travel to Palestine and to be there and talk to the people. And my husband is also, his grandfather is Palestinian. And this is a part of our children, it's a part of our culture as Muslims, it's a part of our responsibility, I believe. But I remember after meeting some of the Palestinians in the community there, and we had taken a day trip into El Halil, and this brother had told us all, he had shared, he'd been so generous and gracious with his time, telling us about his stories and his struggle. And at the end of his conversation, we asked him, we said, what can we do for the Palestinians? What is our responsibility? And he said, come, make sure you come, fill the land, fill our mosques, come and see what is going on. And, you know, right now, it's not possible for all of us to go and to be there. But I think as somebody who is, you know, in the business, I say, of social active, if we cannot be there in person, then we need to be bringing it into our home. This is the way that we can be there and stand united with our Palestinian brothers and sisters and amplify their voices. I will never be able to tell the story like Nawras will tell the story, or like Mutaz or Bisan are telling the story, but I have a responsibility as one of their community members and also as a human to amplify their voice and to stand and supplement all of the news, all of the stories, all of the social media that they're doing. So I would encourage everybody to do the same.
Biz şimdi bunu artık bir doğal reflekse dönüştürmüşler. İstiyorum. Sözü sana bırakıyorum. Biraz da senin gözünden ve senin yaklaşımın üzerinden konuyu derinleştirelim. Sonra zaten interaktif bir şekilde devam edeceğiz.
Selamun Aleyküm. Hayırlı cumalar herkese. Kim burada Filistin'e gitti? Var mı?
What about Palestine?
Tamam. O zaman siz daha iyi biliyorsunuz. Çünkü siz kovaladınız. Kim gitmek istiyor? Stories. And to go there, it's incredible. When you actually go there, inshallah, everyone gets to go there because it really is an amazing experience to just see the old town of Kudus, Jerusalem. It's mind blowing. I mean, it's so amazing. Al-Aqsa is phenomenal. Al-Aqsa is their first Qibla, and it's absolutely, you know, you feel the barakah there. You feel the nur there. And so inshallah, I wish you all to be able to be blessed with that chance to go. But being there, exactly, there's a lot of people sending money, there's a lot of people doing this sort of stuff. Exactly what Jenny said, is that when you ask the people what they want, they're saying, come. If you can get the chance to go in Ramadan, it's amazing. If you can get the chance to go after Ramadan, it's even better, because it's empty. It's empty. And if it's empty and it's not activated, if, you know, Philistine is empty and not activated, and not visited, and not shared on social media, and not made documentary films about, or not made, you know, then slowly the Zionists, the Zionists and USA will slowly take, and they're taking as they please. So that's I got it from there.
Evet, teşekkürler.
This is the question, the 1 million question. How did we start to tell the story of Palestine? And you have also 1 million point of views to do that. It depends from where you start and what is your point of view, and how is one topic could be taken from different angles. I do documentaries and drama, and sometimes docudrama between them. What's happening in Gaza now, we have big scenes than the imagination and the drama itself. We cannot imagine that child goes out from under the rubble and saying the Shahada, or I'm alive, and don't take me, take my family first. All of these scenes, if you write them down, you will be accused by that you are exaggerating. But in fact, they are happening, and they are slapping us. The truth is more powerful than the imagination itself. Now, yesterday, there was this scene in Jenin for the Israeli soldiers entering the mosque and reading the Talmud and reciting Talmud on the minbar. Everyone saw that, yeah? 11 years ago, I wrote a film, it's called Oversized Code. It was a full drama film. And I put the same scene in my imagination for Israeli soldiers entering the mosque and using the speakers of the mosque to announce curfew. A lot of film festivals was accusing me for exaggerating by putting this scene. Israeli soldiers will never do that, they said. And yesterday, I felt that I was not exaggerating. In fact, I was telling less than the truth, because I was telling that the Israeli soldiers used the speakers to tell the people, to inform them that there's a curfew. But yesterday it was not for that, it was for fun. It was for humiliation. It was just for showing that we are here and we are the upper people. So there's a lot of stories to be told now in Gaza. And from where you want to start also is another point. For me, the most important thing just to track these humanitarian stories. And it depends on which platform you are. If you are targeting social with these small things that is going viral, and we have a lot of them. Then to go to the backstory of these small social media videos. Everyone saw the father that holds, the grandfather that hold his grandson and, you know, kissing her, and granddaughter. You remember him? The soul of the soul, he said. He could be a full film, he could be a full drama film, a full documentary if you go for the background of his story. You can go background before to the normal life, before the war even, and to make the last scene, the war scene. And everybody will understand what happened. How beautiful they were living, how beautiful the morals they have been, the tension they're raising, everything could be told before the war. And also after the war, inshallah, it will be in soon. We have a lot of efforts to dig on the stories. And for me also, to dig on the stories behind the fighters, behind these people who never been known, never been shown, but they are telling the stories in their way. They have their families also. You know, they are not allowed to contact with telephones because they should not know what happened to their families after the war is ending. Imagine, it could be, now I'm an investigative team in TRT, it could be a very good investigative scene. I'm working now on a film, it's called Digital Occupation. I started with it like 9 months ago. I stopped because of the earthquake in Antakya. I did a small film about earthquake in Antakya. I went there from the first day. And when the earthquake happened in Antakya, I just want to go there. I was tracking the stories of the people who are trying to save people and the people who save Palestinian. I just saw another war, but it happens in 2 minutes only. 50,000 people have been killed. Now it's happening for 70 days, and we are very close to this number, ma'al-asaf, unfortunately. So when I was shooting this digital occupation documentary, investigative, I made a big effort to have an interview with one of the fighters in the tunnels to tell us how he could go over the Israeli telecommunication network. So they are not being, spied. So they have their own network. Imagine the story behind building your own network in Gaza, in the tunnels. This is a small story of millions of stories, which has, of course, a humanitarian background. There is a lot to tell. There is many to tell. One film is not enough. One director is not enough. I think we have, after the war, a lot of efforts to do. During the war, we are having a lot of effort to do, and also for the next generations. It's a big responsibility.
For example, the hashtag I Stand With Palestine has 12 billion views, as opposed to I Stand With Israel with only, what is it, like 8 billion views. We really have to step back and take a look and see that we finally have an opportunity to change the way this story is being told. So that's a motivator for me. And I think that there's 2 really important things to remember as somebody who's active in social media. The first thing is I truly do believe that it's our responsibility to amplify or replace them. They are the documentaries, they are the truth, they are the eyes on the ground. And that, combined with the fact that pretty much since the very first week, since October 7th, there have been no international journalists allowed to be on the ground in Gaza. They really are the only. So it's incredibly important to amplify those voices. To also address what Ms. Saleh was saying is that after a